This is not a success story yet. I consciously decided I wanted to be reborn, and also this came with a major crisis. My savings ran out, I was completely desperate, I couldn't find a job anywhere. Everything is changing from this moment forward.
It's just a soft. I'm explaining you in the video.
Hello, my name is Luciano. I am from Argentina, in case you didn't guess it, and this is my new life in Sweden. I have died many times to create this new life. What do I mean with this? If we want to create a new life, then we have to let go part of ourselves that we think it's us, but it's really not. Let me explain a bit more what I want to get with this. When I was 22 years old, I decided to make my first backpacking trip with one of my best friends, and that completely changed my life. It completely changed the way I saw things. It made me question how I was doing things, how I was relating with people. During this trip, I met amazing people from all over the world. I was in Buenos Aires with my friends, and we took a train to Tucumán, close to the Andes, and that's where our trip began. We were supposed to cross the north of Argentina, go through Bolivia, Peru, and then go to the coast and finish in Lima. We ended up going to Cartagena in Colombia. So basically a 2-month trip ended up being 5 months in total. So I can certainly say that it was my first conscious death where I wanted to change because I wanted to make room for new things. But it was crazy because my world shook. Literally, my world shook because I was in the 2016 Ecuador earthquake.
Es terrible eso. Estamos todos bien, por suerte. No lo puedo creer. Así impresionante. Es impresionante.
And that was a very big thing for me spiritually as well, because it was a very key moment for me to realize, okay, everything is changing from this moment forward. So I really left a part of myself that I didn't want to be anymore. I didn't want to be that person that felt uncomfortable, even just being with my friends, all that shyness. It really made me think about all of these things that I was doing wrong, and because of I decided to let that old Luciano die, I could be reborn into a new version of myself, which set the pace of everything I was going to do for the next years. So the years that follow, I finished university. I'm a video maker, and I've been since as long as I can remember. And I started doing a lot of free jobs to get a portfolio, and because of that, I got my first real job, let's say, at an agency. Well, it was not an agency, it was a magazine that was starting to create YouTube content for millennials.
They're called, among other things, millennials,
which is a group of people who were born approximately 1984 and after.
Millennials have overtaken us. Millennials.
And it was super fun for me, amazing. One of the best jobs I had. And after that, a very big news channel in the country, one of the biggest, called me to be part of their digital team. This is one of the places where if you get in, you don't really want to get out, because it's where you can make a career, settle. My country is a very complicated country in terms of economy, and this was one of the safest places to be. And that's exactly when I knew I couldn't stay, because if I did stay, that was my life. I was going to have a very comfortable life, and probably would have still been there. And that's kind of one of the worst things that can happen, because that means that everything that comes after is predictable. Ay, la puta madre. It's hot. But I really felt inside me that I was wrong, that I could do much more. And I always knew I wanted to go to Europe. It had to be now, because if I stay in this channel and settle, then that was it. But I knew inside of me that I had to get out, and I did. there was a guy that I had met in my backpacking trip, but for 4 years after that, when I decided to go in 2019, we didn't speak a word. And I just wrote him, hey man, you know, I want to go to Europe, to Spain as my first step. Do you happen to know anyone that is renting a room or anything you can recommend? Like he said, man, my girlfriend is just going to Buenos Aires for a photography course, I think it was. Don't you want to come and stay with me? I said, yes, I would love that. That was one of my first confirmations or signs that I had to go. So me packing my life in a suitcase, everything was a shock. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was in Madrid because this guy was there, but I didn't want to stay in Madrid. I already lived in a big city. And this was at the end of 2019, November. By chance I went to Valencia and I felt this is the place I have to be. I felt it, I knew it. And the reason I went to Valencia is because my dad had a friend there and I just wanted to meet him as an excuse to visit Valencia as well. And he happened to tell me that one of his ex-employees or someone related to him was renting a room at the beginning of March. And I said, okay, this is another sign. I took the apartment without even seeing it. I was sharing with other people. I went back to Madrid, picked up my stuff and left and went to Valencia. What happened in March? 14th of March, if I'm not mistaken, the pandemic started. So suddenly I was surrounded with strangers and with no possibility of getting a job. And that was problematic because I didn't have a lot of money. All of my savings for my lifetime change to live in Europe were $4,000. That was it. And in my plan, I thought, okay, I get to Europe in November. It's gonna take me 2 months to get established, find out where I want to be, what I want to do. I'm gonna get a job, and by March, I'm gonna be earning like 2,000 euros a month minimum. And that was not the case. So what happened at this time? My savings ran out. I was completely desperate. I couldn't find a job anywhere because of the pandemic, clearly. And it was one of the toughest periods of my life because I was about to return to my country as a failure. And of course, my family calling me that I should get back as soon as I can. It was tragic, so a big crisis came. I felt alone, I didn't know what to do, and I ran out of savings. And just in the worst moment where I was about to give up, in September 2020, after almost a year having left Argentina, on that same month I met my girlfriend, who still is my girlfriend. I started having a couple of freelance jobs, and suddenly a road just appeared in front of me. It was not that fast, but it took maybe a couple of months, almost a year, until I could really be almost in the same level I was in my home country. But I achieved it, you know, and the only reason I achieved it is because I stayed. I trusted my gut, I followed the signs, and I went through a terrible crisis the best way I could. And I think this is part of the process of letting your old self die. I really believe that everything is energy, everything around us has a different frequency, and sometimes we're in a frequency in our life that we just need to switch. Then you have to really go down as you can before you can go up and maybe set up yourself in a different frequency, you know, where you're a better version, a more abundant version of yourself. And this is very scary. I was very scared in 2021 because things started to clear up, but still it was hard until I could really get back on my feet. And the thing is, I did get back on my feet in the end. I even got a very good job for Valencia standards related to video creation in marketing. My girlfriend started her own fitness method, which is called the Nordic Bar method, and we've been working together with that. I'm making the videos and the promotions. and she is creating the classes and getting teacher and going through the training, and it's been so much work that I was doing with her at the same time I had my full-time job. But then last year I started feeling that this could not be it, because again I was in a situation where I could have continued in this company and maybe try to grow the method with my girlfriend, the Nordic bar method with her. But also she was feeling that like she reached a ceiling, and I kind of felt the same at my company. So we both felt it was time for a change, and my girlfriend is called Dite, she is from Denmark, and she was living away from her country for many years, and she had no intention in going back. But as me, she of course always loved Scandinavia, and we were always thinking that maybe it could be a good place to move. So we were starting to think that maybe it was a good time to get out. And we said, okay, we were just going to think about it, consider it. This was already in 2024. But then something crazy happened, is that a friend of hers wanted to make an apartment swap, and this girl lived in Copenhagen, and we really wanted to go to Copenhagen in August, and we did it.
I need you to look at me and look famous. There it is.
The thing is that on 2023 we adopted a puppy, Alba, which is a very special dog. She's a border collie mix. We know her mom was a border collie, but we don't know what her dad was because she's tiny. We said, okay, let's go to Denmark in August. Let's take our dog, so she's with us. But then we realized one thing: if we are taking our dog through all this travel to go with planes to Denmark, and we know we want to move later on, why don't we just move? Like, poor dog. Make her take the plane again to go back to Valencia and then to go out to Denmark. It seems a bit cruel. So basically we ended up making one of the biggest decisions of our lives because we didn't want to stress our dog, and I think it makes complete sense.
Did you help, Alba? Yeah, did you help?
In Denmark we already started thinking where we would like to live, and we knew it was not Denmark because it was just too expensive as well, you know. And we always really like Sweden and Norway, the nature. We started going around different houses in the south of Sweden because our plan was also to be kind of close to Copenhagen, but to be in a smaller place because we were completely tired of the city, and we wanted to live in a house. It's been years since I lived in a house, and it was something I was craving. So we basically went to different houses around different kind of areas.
What do you think about that last house?
We're gonna disagree now.
No.
Yes.
Why?
I cannot live there.
Why? It was like the perfect house.
No, downstairs freak me out.
Then you don't go downstairs.
There's ghosts.
No, there are not.
Yes, there's a piano, there's a rocking chair.
We ended up finding this house for almost the same price we paid for an apartment in Valencia, and this is much bigger and much more comfortable, and it's a house. I mean, we have a garden, and it was also good for our dog because we can take her to a beach that we have close by, and also the forest.
When the charge you want, I think we have to go morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can go.
No, this is the shot I wanted. Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, we chose the house without even looking at the town. And the town is called Falkenberg, which is a very small town, an hour away from Gothenburg. And we just moved. I quit. That has been my third death, because I had to let go a very big part of me who was already building up in Spain, in Valencia, with work, friends, habits.
So basically we're gonna do it the other way around. People move from the cold to the heat. We're gonna move from the heat to the cold.
I think it's the right choice. It's gonna be very hard at the beginning. I think we're gonna be fine.
Never in my life have I heard of Falkenberg. I really like the town. We really just wanted to go slow, go with the seasons, and figure out what we want to do with our lives, like what is our next project. And we were working like very much on filming the Nordic bar method, something we never had really the time to do in Valencia as how we are doing it now. And it also made me discover things that I wanted to do and like say, like I'm doing right now, something I never even thought about, making a video of me speaking to the camera, because it's always me on the other side of the camera telling the people like the best way to speak, but now it's me here and I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I am doing it. So I had this urge to tell my story. And also this came with a major crisis. Our projects all kind of went down. I had a possibility of a remote work that didn't happen. We had another possibility of work that we could do in Norway for the summer. And the same day we were going to just like sign the place where we could stay just was not available anymore. We are running out of savings. So this really relates to my crisis in Spain, but in a whole other level. I never had so much uncertainty in my life like now, because I have no idea what we're going to do, where we're going to go. We need to leave this place in May. At least in Spain, I kind of had a direction, but here we're completely blind. It's like we absolutely have no idea what's going to happen in the next month. But again, because I think everything is like a frequency, a wave, we really have to be in this low point as we are right now before we can get up. So it is one of the toughest moments in my life. But why am I sharing this with you? If you want to change your life, if you want to let a big part of yourself, of what you think yourself is, die, it comes with a crisis. It comes with hitting bottom. That's why I'm doing these videos. That's why I want to give you some kind of inspiration, and that knowing that this is not a success story yet, but I really hope it can become one, and I really want to show you the process of it. If you are thinking about building a new life for yourself, you are going to struggle, you're going to go through crisis, you're going to hit bottom, probably. All of your plans are just gonna go like, are going to become a joke, but it's worth it. When you go through that crisis, it's worth it, because you become a better person, you become a stronger person, and you break through all you think your reality is in order to create the reality you want. And you can do this many times in your life, as long as you go with your gut, as long as you go with your heart, with your feeling, and take action. So I'm going to let you know how our journey continues. I hope that you take this as an inspiration for yourself to really always trust your gut and go after what you feel. In the past, it had proven me correct. Trust the process and don't give up. So if you like this video, please subscribe to follow our journey and see if we actually do turn into a success story, or see where this takes us. Maybe it will take a little longer. Please stay tuned and thank you for watching. Cheers!